Hi, my name is Fátima and I'm talking to you from Newfoundland, Canada. It's winter here, but it's our first winter here and it's not as cold. Last week we had the first real cold weather, and even the locals said that it was not normal for them to have that cold. And the cold was -17, with the wind chill it went to -21. And from where we lived, -26 was usual without the wind shield. So for us, it was a piece of cake. But what happened is that we have a dug well that stays out. It's far from the house and it froze. And it was interesting because it froze and it didn't faze me. I remembered when I was in Canada, in 2002, I had arrived here in 2000, end of 99. In 2002, I was living in a farm between Montreal and Ottawa, and there was this day that I was taking my daughter to a party, and my car got stuck in the snow because I lived in a 54-acre farm with a little house in it, and there was a long way to the main road, and the driveway was long. And I remember that when I got back home, the water had frozen, and I said, what am I doing here? I'm going to go back. But I stayed because I solved the problem, and I stayed. And it made me think, because when the water froze here, I also was putting some dishes in the dishwasher, and I get a problem on my back, and I couldn't get straight up again, and I was still happy. Like, it didn't faze me. So that made me think that the way you are feeling, or the way you are with life in the present moment, makes it easier or harder, your experiences. So, and then I was thinking, well, so if I am in that bad place that I was in 2002, how can I change that? So I think the way for me to change it is to be grateful, to think of things that I have to be grateful for. Because this time, I'm just happy. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy my husband is feeling better. I'm happy with the house that is progressing and we are changing things, and little by little it's getting more like our home. So I think the big thing is to be grateful. But this is a knitting podcast, and I'm going to talk about my finished projects. So I had this yarn, I had spun this yarn long ago, and I have a feeling it's 100% alpaca. And I had more or less 600 grams of this thick yarn, so not a lot of yardage. And I thought I could make a crop sweater to wear on dresses. And there were some things that I wanted in my sweater, because my dresses normally have large sleeves. I thought that I wanted them to have a large sleeve too, so that the fabric is here without a problem. And I thought, I don't have a lot of this. I don't know if I'm going to have enough for a sweater, so I should do some color work. And I found this Icelandic yarn that I probably have since 2002 or 2001, or even 2000, when I just came and I was going to Value Village, the thrift stores, to get yarn, because I had just come to Canada. And I finally used up, and this is the leftover that I have. I'm going to have to take it out because it's too hot in here. Just a second. Oh, sorry. But I think it's 100% alpaca, the green, and it's very, very hot. So let me take the microphone from here and put it back here. So this is the sweater, and what I did is, because I wanted to do the color work, I went to the Starmoor Fair Isles Fair Isle knitting book, and I look for patterns because she has a lot of patterns here. So you can choose your periods or your large repeats, and you can choose the number of stitch per group. So I chose a simple one because I was a little bit edgy, and that's very common to me, to be not know if I'm going to have enough yarn to finish the project. So up to the last moment I was, am I going to be yarn chicken or not? And I decided to put something on the sleeves too. And let me just show you. This is how much we had left over of this yarn, a little bit more there of the grain. So it was just enough to do it. The other thing is, because I think that when I spun this, I spun just the alpaca, I know that if I wash, it's gonna go very large. So I don't know if I'm going to block it, but if I decide to block it, I'm going to block it with steam only instead of washing it. And my friend Catarina, that lives, she's Portuguese, but she lives in Norway. She says that the Norwegian wash their sweaters in the snow. So I'm going to Google it, and if I have to wash it, that's how I'm going to do. So this is my first project, and I like to call it freestyle knitting, because I started from the top and then I was increasing and doing, and the sleeves I decided not to decrease anything because that's what I wanted. So here I just did knit two together all around and made the wrist, and I really like it. I really like the sweater. So this is my first finished project in February. Then my second finished project, in reality, my second finished project was this one. And this is Frisos, is the name of the project. It's a cow, and it's from Fabi. It's a Portuguese designer, but you can find the pattern in English. And I really like this pattern. It was the first time I did Fisherman's stitch. And I'm going to include here a little bit of my aha moment with the Fisherman stitch. But I really love this, this project. Really, really, really was so nice. The fabric is very squishy. I used 2 hand spun yarn that I had, and I think for a first time, it's the best thing. And I did mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I did mistakes. It was my first time, but one of the mistakes is that I would end the first collar and then I would go back with the first collar. But because it's a 2-color Fisherman's Friend, it was easy to identify that I was wrong. So I would just decrease the stitches and everything. So I thought it was really nice. She has 2 sizes in her pattern, a smaller and a larger. I did the larger, and I love it. I just love it. I hope the video I'm going to put here will help you with this Fisherman stitch. I want to do it again. For the longest time I wanted to do it, but I never really tried. So I think if you are, if it's your first time too, this pattern is perfect, and 2-color helps. So for you not to commit mistakes. So I will have to experience deeper on the round and on with 1 color, but this so far worked like a charm for me. So Mihai is going to put the video here for you to see my aha moment with this project. Okay, so I'm going to start. You see my 2 threads are on the same side. So I will always start with my main color. In this case, my main color is the blue. So I'm working on the right side. If I did this just as to help me explain what I figured out. So the right side, if I'm doing stockinette, it's always going to be knit, and the wrong side is going to be purl. So if I'm working on the right side, I'm going to do the knits first, and I always start with my main collar. So this is my main collar, and I'm going to do the knits first in the Fisherman stitch. So when you are doing knit, your yarn is always in the back of the needle. So that means the needle has to get in through the front. Purl. Again, knit, the yarn is in the back of the needle, so I'm going to put the other needle through the front. Yarn in the back, needle through the front, and I did the first part. Then I go back to the beginning of the needle to start my second collar. So do the first 3 stitches. Okay, my first collar did the knit stitches, so now my second collar is going to do the purl. When you're doing purl, your yarn is always in the front of the needle, so the second needle is going to go through the back. Yarn in front, needle through the back, yarn in front, needle through the back, and then I do the last 3. Okay, so let's say I stopped my work here and I'm going to start again. So the first thing I look at is that I have the 2 collars at the same side. If the 2 collars are the same side, that means I have to start with the main collar first. So my main collar is the blue. I'm going to work with my blue first. Now I'm going to look. I know that the blue is my main collar, is for the right side, and this purplish is the back, and it's the wrong side. The wrong side is the purl side, so I'm going to do the purls first. So in this case, I'll do the first 3 stitches. And then I'm going to do the purl. The purl, the yarn is in the front, so the needle go through the back. Then I do my knit. The purl go yarn through the front, needle through the back. Yarn in the front, needle through the back. And then the last 3 stitches. So if I'm doing a long row and I stopped here, when I get my project the following morning, I'm going to see that I have the main collar in one side and the second collar on the other side. So that means that I have to work on my second collar, because I always work the main collar first. So I know which collar I have to use. So then when I look at the collar in the system here, I see that this is my back side, because this is my collar for the back part of the project. And I know this is the wrong side of the project. It's purl, because that's my collar that is in the back. So I know that the purls had to be done first, and they are done with the main collar. So I know this is the time to do my knits. When you do a knit, the yarn is in the back, so your needle is going to go through the front. Purl. Yarn is in the back, needle go through the front, and that's it. So now the 2 threads are on the same side, and I know that when I start again, I have to start with my main collar. I know that this color is the front of my project, so I'm going to do the knits first. Hope this helps. Okay, so I finished my cardigan. I have to say that it was a struggle. After the problems I had with my first sleeve, I really didn't want to finish it, but it is really nice. And here in this bottom part, I had forgotten, in this green part, I had forgotten to change my needles to larger needles. So when I was blocking it, I pulled it really hard, and as you can see, you don't see it tight, so it looks perfect for me. And it was a little bit tight on my chest here, on my breast, but it fits nicely. I'll put it on quickly. And I like it with this dress too, because this dress has lots of greens. And so here it is. The sleeves, when I finished, they were short, but after blocking, they were just perfect. My husband also said that he didn't like, that something was wrong with this collar, but this is what the pattern is like. The collar is to be like this. And I didn't particularly like working with this yarn. Let me take it off. Sorry. It is, I think, Cascade. But after you wash it and you put it on, it feels pretty nice. It feels really nice. So I wasn't sure if I was going to give it away or not, but I think I'll keep it because I love the color. I love the project, and yeah, I like it. So it was, at the end, it was a win. And I did put a little bit of friction here when I was washing. I washed it with soap in this area, and it feels like the yarn is a little bit more together, so felted a little bit, so that's a good thing. I feel more comfortable with the stitch, with the stick that I made there. So this is my third project and final finished project. Then what I have been working mainly is on this sweater, and I took a picture here. Let me just see if I can get it. Just 1 second. So this is the Weatherman sweater. And it is, so I showed my son and he liked this sweater. And when I was spinning this yarn, this is 100% merino, 3-ply. I spun it a little bit thicker, so it gave me more than a decay, a worsted yarn, more or less. And the thing is, whenever I'm doing something for my kids, I feel stressed because I want them to like the project. And my son wanted black, so I bought the black dye and I dyed it black. But the thing is, it wasn't getting black. It was getting purplish gray, and I wanted black. So I put more dye and more dye. And of course, there's so much that the fiber can absorb. And because of that, I had to rinse it more often, more times. And because I had to rinse, it kind of felted. And it didn't felt that the strands would be together, but it felted in itself. Like you cannot undo the yarn. You see, it's felted. If I get some of the white that is here, you will see that if I do this, the twist comes out a little bit. You see? That doesn't happen here. So the consequence of this is that your fabric is a little bit more stiff than this fabric, for example. This is very malleable. This is malleable too, but it feels stiffer than that. So I don't know if he's going to like it. The other thing is I wanted to do that sweater. That sweater has only 3 sizes. It didn't have the size that my son needed, but my gauge was bigger. So they were asking for a 18 stitch gauge, and my gauge with this yarn was 16. So I made my calculation, and I'm using the size 2, the medium, as this, because this would give a little bit more than what he is, and he said that he wanted a sweater that is not too tight. So I hope this will fit, but I don't know. If he doesn't like it, then I'll find somebody else to give. But it was spun having him on mind, and dyed having him on mind, and knitting having him on mind. So either way, he's getting some good vibes from here. The other thing is, I don't know how, but I counted the stitches, and when I think it was Friday, I said, oh, okay, I did the sleeves and I did the body, so now I'm going to start putting everything together. And when I start putting everything together, I discovered that instead of 178 stitches, I had cast on only 168 stitches. So I needed to increase 10 more stitches. So what I did is I put it back here. I unravel everything up to here, and did an increase here of 5 stitches. Then around here more or less, I increased the other 5 stitches. I think in the end that's a good thing, because my son likes to exercise, so he has muscles here and he's skinny. So I think in the end this is going to work fine for him in this aspect. But it delayed, and only now I put the sleeves together to start working on the top. The good thing is that I was talking to him on camera and he liked the collar, so that's a plus. I show him the project, and he likes the project too. This project has I think 4 collars on it, but I'm going to do just with the 2 collars, and I hope it becomes well. I think it will, but I will have only 2 collars. It's going to be more like a Norwegian than a thing. So I am on the final steps. I don't know when I'm going to finish it, but this is what I'm working on. And I'm hoping that my son will come in the summer to Canada with my grandson. So by then, I hope it will be okay. My second work project, like February was my birthday, and I went nuts and I got a lot of fibre. And last year in October, I think, I joined the Kate Davis Club. And the Kate Davis Club is every Monday you get a pattern. You get a total of 12 patterns, but you get some bonus in the middle. And you can read some articles that she writes. And by the end, if you choose, you can receive a book with everything. In my case, I didn't buy the book, I just bought the patterns. But it was very nice. I was like, every Monday you are, oh, today is the day to get a pattern. And this time the book was based on color work. So everything had color work. And it was perfect for me because I am on my color work phase. So I am working on one sweater, but I decided to stop it a little bit. I started the following day I got the yarn. And I don't know why I was surprised that it's soft, because it's Corriedale, and I work a lot with Corriedale, but it has also Cheviot. This is the Schiehallion. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. It's 70% Corriedale and 30% Cheviot. Cheviot is classified as a lamb wool. Not a lamb wool, it's a cut wool. So it's for sheep that are for meat. And normally what they have is they have a very crimpled yarn, fiber, and that makes your yarn lofter. So they're good for you for winter to be warmer, because those little curls in the yarn, very many curls, are going to make the yarn fluff up and gonna keep air inside. So that's a good one. So I saw I forgot the name of the pattern that I'm working here, and I was going to get it, but I didn't. And but these were the 3 colors. The color work is extremely easy. So these are the 3 colors that I got. You work most in blue and white. And the color work is extremely easy. The yarn is, well, it's very nice. The project feels really good. And I'm working with needles one size bigger than the required, because I know that my color work is too tight. So I'm happy. I'm really happy. But I'm trying to finish my son's sweater first. And my third and last work in progress is the Pogona shawl from Stephen West. And I have gone to my yarn shop now in St. John's. That is the Wool Trends. And I got 3 skeins. They're not exactly like a dégradé, but I tried to go for the colors that were more or less thing, because I really wanted to start this shawl, and I had spun my other orange yarn for that, but it was too thick. It wasn't going to be nice. So I got yarns that had more or less the same thing. So this has blues, this has some blues and reds, and then this has more reds and dark reds, like burgundies and stuff. And I'm enjoying very much to knit this. It's a long knit, but I think it's turning out really nice. So I am at the stage now that I'm putting together the two, this is the right side, the 2 skeins. So I need 2 rows with 1 skein, 2 rows with the other skein. And then I will just go with the second skein until I have 40 grams left over. And then I start blending this with this. Oh, and the yarn is from a dyer, indie dyer in Nova Scotia. So this is Colors of Newfoundland and Kashba by Fleece Pitcher Plant. That's what it is. So it's Kashba, and it's hand. Let me get the other here for me to read while you see. Sorry. So this is Handmaiden fine yarn, Kashba, 80% merino, 10% nylon, and 10% cashmere. And hand dyed in Canada, one of a kind. So it's really nice. I really like it. The yarns are very nice and soft, and the colors are beautiful. So I hope that the final result is going to be good. And my just doubt is because it goes from this light, like very abruptly, to the reds. So that was my fear. But if you look here in the project, mainly when it is on the pearl side, I think it looks really great, the pearl side. And the knit side is not that bad because you have reds, but then you still have the blues coming. Some areas you have more. So I'm hoping it's going to be the final result with the color change is going to be nice. And I wanted a big shawl, so the Pogona was originally a small shawl. I think it was a 1 skein shawl, and he did it another version. And this thing is that you increase 14 stitches each 2 rows, so it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know how much it will grow long ways, because wise it's just 14 stitches each 2 rows is a lot, but it's a nice knit. You don't have to be stressed. I think that Stephen West gives you the innovations, the hardcore things that are always hard to knit on the mystery cows, but this shawl is my 3rd shawl from him, and I really love it. And I love it so much that I bought one of his other books so that I can make other shawls, because I do love it a lot. And this was so also in February that I bought the yarn, and when I bought another skein of sock yarn of the Sadness Garn and Sadness, I think, garn, and that's superwash and it's yarn. So for socks, I think I'm not I don't have my sock mojo now. I have a lot of books, but I haven't done anything. So this is my 3. So I have 3 work in progress. I have 2 that I haven't touched, so I'm not going to talk about it. And spinning wise, I have only spun, I'm on the 4th bobbin of this merino that I dyed, and I wanted something more to golden instead of brown. So my plan is, once I have the yarn finished, I'm going to over dye it with yellow to see how it works. I still don't know. I spun it much thinner, and I don't know if I'm going to do a 3-ply or a 4-ply. I will see, but that's all that I did in thing. So that's pretty much it. The only interesting thing that we filmed this month was a part of the ocean that froze. So on our way to St. John's, there is an area that it's very shallow, but it's ocean, and it froze. And right now it's not frozen anymore, but we filmed a little bit, and that's what we're going to leave here at the end, because I thought it was very interesting. I have never seen a frozen ocean. Frozen lakes is normal, but not frozen ocean. So that was pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next month. Meanwhile, have a good time, enjoy life, be grateful, and see you soon. Bye.